Welcome back, one and all. We are back with another episode of Kamen Rider Saber. This time we are on episode 29, The Moment the Swordsman Made His Move. This is the premiere of the latest Kamen Rider, the 11th one in the series so far, Kamen Rider Durandal, who, he is interesting. His power is very interesting. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get with the episode recap part. So this is a very Rentaro-focused episode, which it's been a while since we've had a Rentaro-focused episode, so that's good. The main crux of the episode is Rentaro finally deciding to leave the Swords of Logos and join up with Toma and friends. In fact, we start off with Rentaro telling May this, which further gives fuel to the shippers, especially with next week's episode around the corner, also giving fuel to the shippers between these two. And he decides to settle his scores at Swords of Logos and find out who exactly is the traitor, so that, all his friends can be friends again and not have to worry about any other things. So when he goes to the Swords of Logos and goes undercover a little bit, he finally finds out where Sophia is, and she's basically been sealed in the hidden closet. They've basically been keeping her in the closet this whole time, and she apparently holds some secret to the Book of Human Lies, or something along those lines. So that's interesting. That's gonna be, apparently that's the last book they need to get to deal with before they can do their whole summon the big book plan. But it's good to see Sophia again for more than 5 minutes this time, because she will show up throughout the episode, and it figures. And basically Rentaro finally figures out that Reika's kind of a bitch. So obviously he takes this knowledge to his superior in Master Logos and tells him, hey, Reika's the traitor. So there is a traitor, and it's Reika. And Master Logos is like, no, she's actually the most loyal person here. In fact, she's actually going about my actual will and helping me rebuild the big book, the Book of Destiny. And, oh boy. And when Rentaro tries to call out about the elders, who are basically the secondary leaders, or at least they're basically like he's the president and they're the Senate. Apparently he already killed them off. He pulled a Palpatine in a way and basically took over or killed the Senate, or the elders in this case, and so there's no one left to oppose him. He is running completely unopposed, and so that's why he can twist the organization to his will. And Rentaro obviously doesn't like this and tries to attack him before he's introduced to Ryuga Sendai. He does make a point of Sendai to make that he's related to Reika. He is the older brother to her, or potentially, when the whole Onichan thing, you can call it older cousin that too, but for right now we're just gonna call him brother, her older brother, until some official sources come out and say that they're siblings. Because again, they could easily be cousins. I'm thinking about Naruto with the whole Neji Hinata thing, and the fact that she kept calling him Oni-chan in the sub. Anyway, so, he premieres as Durandal and shows off his power, which is basically, he's basically Crimson King, and I'll explain that a bit more later, but we still have to go through episode recap. So, so this leads to a big ol' fight, and meanwhile, with Toma and friends, they're trying to figure out a way to help Rentaro, and so they're basically, we don't have a way to get into there, because get into the northern base or get into southern base because of their barrier, and then Yuri comes up with the solution. Hey, my friend went over there recently and left a hole in their defenses for us to get through, referring to Tassel, and Toma even points out Tassel, believing that he might be connected to Yuri in some way, which is really cool. I like the Tassels being treated as more important, especially after the revelations we've had about Tassel's existence. So Yuri and Toma take off to infiltrate southern base, because only Yuri can open the hole, and only one person can grab his sword at a time. And so him and Toma fly through the air and infiltrate southern base. In the meantime, Rentaro's getting his ass kicked by the new rider with Durandal. Again, we'll talk more about that fight in a minute, but it's a really cool fight. It's kind of weird because it's a Crimson King fight, and every Crimson King fight is kind of weird. And if you're not a fan of JoJo's, oh god, this is confusing as hell. It sounds confusing as hell. But anyway, shit. Anyway, yeah, Rintaro's getting his ass kicked, and then Toma and Yuri are looking for him, and Toma happens on the scene and starts getting his ass kicked because he can't keep up with Durandal's power as he's trying to figure out a way around it. And basically, he gives him the ultimatum: hand over your books, or I'll kill Rintaro. And so Toma does, but he's actually, has a secret plan because he has Yuri hiding in the shadows, just waiting for the right moment to strike. And, well, it almost doesn't work, but Yuri comes in for the clutch and saves the day, and then they kind of have to flee. We do get a quick fight between Yuri and Durandal, and it's kind of a cool, quick thing, especially because of how broken Durandal is at the moment, because, new rider debut has to be broken as all hell. And so, we do get an also interesting bit of Rintaro using the Elemental Dragon book by itself to use this Elemental Mashi thing, or Elemental Better thing. I think it just improves or charges up his elemental power. It reminds me of seeing Gem use the Hyper Muteki Gas Shot in X8. It's like, you don't get a new form, but you get a temporary kind of little power-up thing. In that case, it was like 60, and like Gem's case was like a 60-second invincibility instead of Muteki's always invincible. And in this case, it's an elemental charge that will hypercharge your elemental ability, apparently, and you just have to get away. What I didn't mention what happened in the meantime is that Kento also infiltrated Southern Base by himself as Caliber and saved Sophia, because when they go back to the Northern Base, they're like, Toma is on death's door because he took one big hit from Durandal, and so they're trying to figure out, hey, how do we save Toma? And they're like, well, Yuri's gonna heal him, but like, if he follows us here, we're fucked, especially because we don't have any protection. Remembering Reika from the last time, she infiltrated the Northern Base and beat all their asses. And they're kind of thinking of a way to not be screwed until Sophia shows up and be like, hey guys, I'm back, I fixed the barrier, everything's good again. So, now almost the whole gang's back together, except for Rin, who's not even mentioned in this episode because he had his moment last week. And yeah, that was basically the plot of the episode. So again, the big thing about this episode was the debut of Kamen Rider Durandal, who I kind of have to explain because his power isn't as cut and dry as everyone else's power is, apparently. So first off, he uses the Marine History book, and I kind of like how him and Reika both have general textbooks as their transformation book instead of more stories or legends like the other writers do. Like, those are textbooks, and it's kind of funny because they're evil. Like, everyone else has these whole big either fairy tale books or books related to this mythical thing or there. No, we just have textbooks. This is like, that's the funniest thing to me for some reason. Anyway, so Durandal's power is time. Like, he has a water motif because he uses a trident polearm thing. Like, he has a water motif, but he's apparently the rider of time, or at least the swordsman of time in this case, which will explain why he hasn't shown up, because he is the most broken thing in the series right now. So what do I mean by him being Crimson King? So for those of you who don't know JoJo's, Crimson King is the final boss stand of Part 5, which was the most recent anime. Part 6 just got announced, so yay. Part 5 was the most recent anime to finish, and basically the thing about that is Crimson King, like most final boss stands in JoJo's, has the ability to manipulate time in some way. In his case, he can skip time, which is confusing as all hell. It's referred to as time erasure in the show. It's like, basically, everything that would have happened during the skipped time would happen, except Crimson King, because he also has a secondary ability of being able to see the future with the secondary stand Prophet, can see said future and use his skipping of it to avoid any bad outcome. On top of that, you will be completely confused as to what the fuck just happened, because suddenly, like, let's say time skip, you're going to the restroom, time skipped. You're leaving, let's say, the living room, going to the restroom, time skipped, and now you just got up from your chair, time skipped, now you're in the restroom, peeing in the toilet, and it's like, wait, what the hell just happened? That's basically this entire fight between Durandal. Like, I don't know if he can see the future with his power, or if he's just really good at guessing the way the fight will flow, so that he can get a one-up on his opponents with his skipping time thing. I don't think he can see the future because he wasn't able to hit Toma 100% during their quick fight when he was Elemental Dragon, and he seemed surprised when Toma showed up, or at least a little bit surprised when Toma showed up. But he can still skip time, so that's interesting. That's an interesting power that they're going to have to overcome. Another thing about Durandal is he also was part of the I have to hold on to the part of my sword that's technically a blade to use it club, because he has two modes to a sword. One is obviously sword mode, and one is polearm / trident mode. And he kind of has to lift the blade up out of the hilt to switch between the two modes. And he also has to lift the blade out of the hilt to use his time skip ability. And so that kind of looks funny to me, because that's technically supposed to be the sharp edge of the sword. It's a double-sided blade, similar to how most of the other swords are in the series. So, there's not really a safe part to grab it to remove the sword. I just find that a little bit funny. Like, every time he has to lift the sword, I was like, oh, time to stab myself. Anyway, as for Durandal's suit itself, it's a pretty cool suit. From the side, it very much reminds me of the Saiga suit from the Kamen Rider 5's movie. And I'm not just saying that because, like, a few months ago now, I rewatched that movie for the sake of reviewing it for, like, my other Kamen Rider thing I'm doing. But, yeah, it looks like the Saiga suit from the side, and I wonder if they maybe use the Saiga suit as a base, potentially, or use a similar mold structure. It just reminds me of the Saiga suit so much, without the jetpack, obviously. Yeah, so Durandal's kind of broken, and combined with Reika also being broken because of her whole steam thing and not being able to be hit. Also, Reika still hasn't had an official loss. Like, she technically lost against Caliber, but not really, because she was just stuck to a wall because she wasn't part of the big fight for that episode. So these two are still going no losses, and that's kind of terrifying considering that they're the main enemy force now. Yeah, that's going to be a wall to overcome, huh, Toma? So overall, how's the episode? It's a really good one, especially for Rentaro. They're obviously going to focus a bit on Rentaro for the next few sets of episodes because, in the monthly scans, we got his, we're in the 20s now, so by that episode, we should be in the 30s. So would that count as his final form? Typically, we start getting secondary rider final forms in the 30s and 40s. And, yeah, that would be his final form then, because I don't think there'll be enough time for his final form, for him to get another form in the series then. So, yeah, that would be his final form in the Northern Blades thing. I'll save comments on that form when we get to it in, maybe a few episodes. So he's definitely getting his episode focuses in. And I honestly have always liked Rentaro. I liked how earnest he is as a character. And it's really good to see him get a spotlight again after being basically a background character for the past 10 episodes? How long has it been since Rentaro had focus? Let me check. He lost focus right around when the split between the group happened. Yeah, it's been 10 episodes. Dear God, I forgot about that. Jesus. So it's good to see him have focus again, and it's good to see the gang back together officially, not just unofficially. Although, again, Ren still isn't there, but who cares about Ren, because he's kind of not important, or at least he's very much not important to the current storyline. and his character arc is very much him basically being kind of a dick, at least right now. Yeah, I do wonder though, Kento's ultimate goal of sealing away the swords, I wonder if he's using Sophia as part of his plan, or if he decided to throw the gang a pro bono because he didn't want Master Logos getting all the swords in order to enact his plan. Because Master Logos did state that he was a bit worried about Kento sealing away all the swords, which, does he need all the swords for his plan? Because it looks like you need all the swords to summon the book. You need all the books on the swords to summon the book. So do you need all the swords to do it? Because right now you have 1.5 swords sealed away. So wouldn't that mean you don't need it anymore? I don't know. And that's very poorly explained, and I really hope they will explain it later, but I doubt they will, because they still haven't explained the whole swordsman thing, and I still haven't dropped it, and I won't drop it until they explain it. It's probably just going to be a thing that just goes unexplained throughout the course of this entire series. But final thoughts on this episode as a whole, pretty good. Durandals looks like a pretty cool new villain writer. Him being Crimson King also helps. It's a pretty cool power, and it's confusing as all hell, so it could lead to some interesting fight scenes. And I wonder if Northern Blades will be created as a way to countermand his, time skip power. It's just really cool, and I honestly do like it. I like the suit. The sword is confusing because you have to keep stabbing yourself with the sword to switch the modes. And to use the time skip, because you need to use the hilt by itself to use time skip. And him and Reika seem like they make a very deadly combo if they fought together. This is probably why she was basically absent from the episode, outside of going to question Sophia. Also, it's good to have Sophia back. She's been gone for a very long ass time, so it's good to have her finally back on screen, having an on-screen presence again. Even though she really didn't have much of a presence even beforehand, it's just good to have her back and, have the barrier thing back as a way to prevent any more raids on their base from Reika. And they might have a way to raid southern base, with Tassel's whole hole in their defense system thing. But I wonder how long that will last. It might be gone next week, and it might be gone after then. But, next week, looks like we're finally going to get back to the Megiddo main threat again, because stuff happens, and it looks like it's also going to be further shipping fuel, so that's also kind of fun, because I do kind of like this kind of fun shipping fuel stuff between Rentaro and May. It's kind of cute, especially with how earnest of a character Rentaro is, and how May is a very good driving force for his character, or at least helping him realize his character. They just have cute moments, and I kind of like it. I like May. I want her to do more. And it looks like next week she'll finally have a bit of episode spotlight focus, which is really cool. Yeah, overall, I really like this episode. It's a pretty cool fight. If you want to see some trippy time stuff, a really good moment for Rentaro's character. I didn't explain the whole elemental mushy thing. I mean, I kind of did, but I really didn't. Basically, it's like a temporary supercharge to your already present element, and I kind of wonder what would happen if he used it for the other characters, like if he gave it to the already broken Yuri. Although I didn't see light in his element, so I wonder if it only applies to like the non-super special elements, like basically the Bridgers that we've had before Yuri showed up, not counting Caliber, of course. So now I kind of want to see Rio use it. I want to see what that do for Buster. Would that make his final attack sword even bigger? That would be really cool, in all honesty. So yeah, fine episode. Durandal's a major threat, and Sophia's back, so that's pretty good, at least for the good guys' defensive measures. I don't do number scores. It just feels like this would be a good time for a number score, but I don't do number scores. So yeah, good episode. Next week probably is going to be even better because, more Rentaro character focus, which is pretty good. I have missed the boy, and it's good to have him back. So, until next week, everybody.